Okay, so we are back for part 3, final part of my review. Okay, so the jury, from what we can tell, they did not deliberate for that long. Jury Eugenia is the one that lets Tommy and Nico know jury's back. Because they were, Nico was talking to Tommy about, like asking him, like, how much did you love Carolyn? And right before that, he's asking him to go get a drink. So they have not been there that long. So, the jury 4-person. So, all right. So the verdict gets handed to Judge Little, which is typical. That's what usually happens. She looks at it. She gives it to the clerk to read. I don't know what the rule is in Chicago. Again, I'm licensed in the state of Georgia, but in Georgia, usually the jury 4-person is the person who reads the verdict. So maybe this is the rule in Chicago, is that the clerk reads it. What I did notice is she didn't read the degree of murder that Rusty was charged with. So maybe in Chicago, it's just murder and then all the degrees are included. I don't know. Rusty is acquitted, which, if they're going to do another season, he needs to be acquitted so that he can go back to work, so he can work on the next case. What I'm wondering is, given the success of the show, I don't think Apple TV Plus expected this show to be as successful as it has been. I wonder if he was found guilty originally and they changed it. I know this is based on a book. I haven't read the book, so I don't know what happens in the book, but I am wondering that. Because, like I said, he needs to be found not guilty to continue the show. So he's found not guilty. He doesn't look happy. So at this point, I'm like, wait, did he do it? And so I was like, I will be absolutely gagged if he did it. So, he gives his statement to the press about how justice hasn't been served because Tommy had blinders on the whole time, blah, blah, blah. Goes back to the house. Barbara's got her bag packed. I know that's motherfucking right. And so he's like, oh, Rusty finds her on the stationary bike in the garage. He's like, oh, were you planning on taking that vacation, that we discussed? And she was like, yeah, this is what I talked about with our therapist, an event that it should happen again. He's like, that what should happen again? She's like, that you should betray this family's trust and try to destroy it. And so he's sitting there and he's like, I figured out that you did it. Then I wasn't sure, but now I'm certain that you did it. And I'm sitting here like, oh my God, it was really her. And then, and she's got this look on her face of like, Ruth Nega ate down in this scene, because she's got this look on her face like, it's almost like she's lying, she's pretending like she didn't do it. And then it's like horror that he would even accuse her. And so, then he reveals that he tied Carolyn up, which that was such a good ruse to lead us off the path of who really did this. And because of the tying up, because it's like only a few people would know that. He's like, I tied her up to protect you. And he's like, I went back to the house and I tied her up. And he was like, I was going to call 911, but then I thought that you were the only person that could have done it. And so I didn't. And she's like, you think I killed Carolyn? And he's like, I put a tracker in your car. I know that you took the poker to Tommy's house. And then you hear. So, okay, up until this point, I have not yet revealed the killer. If, for whatever reason, if you just happen to see this video come up on your For You page and you have not watched this show, stop the video at this point, because I'm about to reveal the killer, and go back and watch the show. Okay? If you have not finished the finale of Presumed Innocent on Apple TV Plus, do not watch the rest of this video. Stop here, finish the entire series, and then come back. And then Jaden comes into the garage and says, no, she didn't. She said, I took Mom's car and put the poker there. And it's like, what? What? And, you know, Barbara's horrified. Rusty's trying to process. And he's like, why did you have the poker? And then she's just like, I just went over there to tell her to leave you alone. And then they show the scene. And she goes over there. And she's like, and Carolyn's like, it's not me, it's your father. And Jaden is just like, stay the fuck away from us. Stay the fuck away from him. And she's like, I will. But our lives are going to be entwined a little bit because I'm pregnant with his child. Carolyn, it was a bit smug, bitch. It was a bit smug. And you might have lost your life because you were smug in that girl's face. And, you know, Jaden, she picked up that poker and she gave Carolyn 2 strong whacks. Okay? Killed her, ran out, leaves. She buried the poker. The next day, she didn't go to breakfast with the fam. She said she was sick, wiped down the car. When I tell you, so I saw a clip on Apple TV Plus of Ruth Negga talking about the show and saying that she was just like floored when she saw who the killer was. And so when I tell you, I considered everybody. I considered Tommy. I considered Nico. I considered Raymond. I considered Raymond's wife. I briefly considered Barbara. I even considered Eugenia, thinking that she was jealous of Carolyn because Carolyn was hooking up with Rusty and she liked Rusty. I considered everybody. I considered the son, but then I threw that away because I said that's too obvious. I considered Carolyn's son. I considered Carolyn's ex-husband. I considered everyone. So this entire time, I'm thinking, when I see this finale, they're not about to gag me because I considered everybody. The one person I never thought of was Jaden. The one person. Apple TV Plus, you did your big one. David E. Kelly, you did your big one. J.J. Abrams, you did your motherfucking big one. Jake, you're a producer on the show, you did your motherfucking big one. Because I never considered that girl. And when you think about like how worried and concerned she was about her father getting off and not being found guilty, and she's like, I don't want you to go to prison. I don't want you to go to prison. You think it's just concern for her father, but now that you know, now it's, well, I don't want you to go to prison for something that I did. Which, had Jake known, had Rusty known, I think he would have, had he been found guilty, he would have taken the fall for her. Because he says, listen to me. Once he finds out, he says, listen to me. We're never going to speak of this again. What you did out of self-defense, defense of this family. And it's my fault. And then they show, I think it's supposed to be like Thanksgiving, because Barbara was like taking a turkey out of the oven. You know, it's like Thanksgiving Day that's being shown. And now it's perfect because now Barbara can't leave. She can't leave because now that she knows this, her and Rusty kind of have to be together to make sure this never comes out. And then she needs Rusty, if it does by chance come out, to help her should it come out and Jaden gets charged. So I don't think it's ever going to come out. Like, the story's over. But it would an incredible finale. One of the best finales I've ever seen, to be honest, because I never clocked it. Not once. So, yeah. That's it.